Hey there friends, just wanted to say that today's video is 4 short, scary stories. Make sure you hit that thumbs up if you liked the video, and subscribe for more content like this. Enjoy. Story 1. I picked my daughter up from daycare for the first time today. I'm a good father. It's so nice to finally meet you. Miss Gray told me you'd be coming. A woman with light blonde hair greeted me kindly after I introduced myself. She ushered me to the back and helped me through a safety gate that separated the infants from the toddlers. I closed it behind me. The pleasure is all mine. Deborah told me so much about you. It's Jennifer, right? She turned to look at me, her cheeks flushing a soft pink color. It was not lost on me that my looks were aesthetically pleasing. Yes, sir. Call me Brian, I offered. Oh, Brian. She swallowed hard. Well, Lucy is all ready to go. Just let me wake her up. She disappeared through a door in a hurry, and I walked over to the rack on my left. I knew that Lucy's diaper bag was the bright pink frozen one. Her mother bought almost every item of the merchandise the film had to offer. It was ridiculous, really. I ran my fingers over the material and slung the bag over my shoulder. The sound of cooing brought me back to reality, and I turned to see a small bundle wrapped in muslin cloth, little hands reaching out. The woman handed her over to me as her blue eyes met mine. A gummy smile broke out across her face. I leant down to kiss her forehead. My beautiful baby. Aw, she's missed you. Will you be dropping her off tomorrow morning, Brian? Jennifer asked. I looked up and shook my head. No, my wife will be. I only had half a day today and decided to do the run. Her smile faltered a little. Oh, of course. Well, don't forget to sign out at the door, and you two have a great afternoon. She reached over and gently pinched her cheek. I thanked the woman, then pulled Lucy close to my chest. I chose to leave without signing anything. We walked together to my car. I parked it around the corner and under a tree. Her safety seat was already set up, waiting for her to be buckled into it. Time to go home, sweetie. She answered back with a string of nonsensical blabbering, smiling as she did. I settled her in. I know that Lucy isn't mine, but after watching her mother for so many years, it felt like she was. I'm glad that I finally tapped into their home phone a few weeks back. Otherwise, I would never have known that this would be the first day that Brian would pick his daughter up from daycare. Story 2. Bomb. The old mission director was dead. According to the news, he died from a work-related accident. My husband, who was second in command under the old director, got promoted and oversaw the mission to build the bomb. Him living away from me and our kid proved difficult, but I knew that he was trying his best to save humanity. 4 months later, the bomb was delivered on schedule. The Polynesian nations in the Pacific Ocean generously relinquished their country to test the bomb. Upon detonation, hundreds of miles vaporized. The shockwave was heard around the world. Satellite images showed the bomb's radius could cover the entire continuous United States. 24 hours later, the numbers came out. The bomb produced the explosive equivalents of 10,000 megatons of TNT. Cheers erupted across the world. They said that only 4,000 megatons of TNT were needed to steer the asteroid's course, and the bomb exceeded twice of that. The president read a statement saying how American geniuses averted the apocalypse, and awarded my husband the Medal of Freedom. A second bomb, identical to the first, was loaded into a rocket at Cape Canaveral. Its destination would be an asteroid 1 million miles away. Upon the bomb detonation, the asteroid would slowly steer away from its intended course and narrowly avoid Earth. A big celebration was held the hour prior to launch. However, my husband was not present at the launch. Instead, he wanted to stay with me and the kids. The launch was at midnight, and even though I allowed my little son to stay up and watch the launch on TV, my husband tucked him back into bed instead. A few minutes before the launch, my husband asked me to turn off the TV and join him in my son's room. What's the matter, dear? You've acted very strange since you've come back, I implored. He had just, after all, saved the human race from extinction, and I knew that could be a heavy burden to bear. The old director, He didn't die from an accident. He killed himself. He knew that his lie was too much of a burden to bear, my husband replied. The bomb will never be able to steer the course, he continued. We need 1,000 times more power. It won't even reach the asteroid. The president and I, after discussing the situation, agreed the best thing for America to do was to alter the trajectory of the rocket. I was dumbstruck. If the bomb's not going to the asteroid, where is it going? I managed to mutter. But my husband was silent, teary-eyed. He looked at our son, who slept soundly in our presence. Story 3. Adrift. The Colchester slowly made its way north, bobbing up and down in the small swells left over from last night's storm. The Colchester was a large cargo ship. She had been made to cross the Atlantic and make occasional trips around South Africa and into the Arabian Sea. She was currently making her way through the Davis Strait in between Greenland and the northwestern passages of Canada. Brian Altier made his way forward along the port bow. He took his time, inspecting the cargo rigging as he went. Brian wrote down everything in his log: the condition of the cargo, the state of the rigging, and anything else that he might notice along the way. When he was finished with his rounds, he would make his report to the captain, just as he always did. Brian had finally made his way to the bow. He stood there for a long while, just staring off into the distance and feeling the salty spray against his cheeks. It was times like these that he often remembered the good old days, the loud, boisterous crew, and the many adventures they had. To some, shipping freight was boring, but Brian loved being out in the open sea. It was his true calling in life. He just wished that the old crew was here to enjoy it with him, like in the old days. Brian sat at the stern and ate his lunch, as he always did. It was evening and quickly approaching night when Brian was finally finished with his rounds. He made one final notation in his log and went to make his report to the captain. Brian headed to the mess to see if he might find the captain sitting down for dinner, but when he got there, it was completely empty, not a soul in sight. So Brian made his way to the captain's quarters. The captain needed to hear his report, but the captain's quarters were completely empty as well, another futile search. Brian gave up. He went to his own quarters and lay down to go to sleep, as he always did. 3 different fishermen had called in reports within an hour. The Coast Guard arrived and began a search, but this wasn't the first time, and they didn't expect to find anything. Reports had been coming in for years of people seeing the Colchester, drifting by with a man standing at the bow. They searched for 2 hours, by sea and by air. They never found a thing. Brian awoke to a crisp and clear day. He pulled on his boots, checked himself in the mirror, and grabbed his log. Brian headed out to the port bow and started slowly making his way forward, inspecting the cargo and rigging as he went, as he always did. Story 4. Family Dinner. A little boy sat at a table with his dad and grandpa. He asked his dad if they would always have something to eat. The dad, glancing at his own father, reassured his son that there might not be a lot at times, but there would always be something. Decades later, that little boy grew up into a man and found himself sitting at that same table. He looked to his father and grandpa and thanked them for the nourishment they provided over the years as he cleaned off one of his dad's ribs. So there you have it, my dear friends. I hope that you all enjoyed that collection of short, scary stories from Reddit. Each one of these stories is sourced down in the video description below. Also in the description, you'll find a link to my Facebook, subreddit, and Twitter, and a page where you can submit your own story to me so I can read it on my channel if you have one to submit. If you liked the video, please do consider hitting that thumbs up button. That really does help me know that you like this kind of content. Also, please consider hitting that subscribe button, helping this channel grow. The more the channel grows, the more people get to view these stories. The more people that view them, the more people get to enjoy them. The whole point is spreading joy, right? And also, if you would like to, please do consider leaving me a comment, letting me know how you're doing, and, just how your days are going, how you're spending your time inside. All that said, friends, thank you very much for listening. I love you all. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you on the next video. But until then, sleep well.